Hey, storytelling one. I want to talk about The Convert. It just came out. It's on Hulu, I believe. Let me just get to this real quick. And I'm just going to say that I enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed it. The ending was a little iffy as a Christian, but okay, I think it was okay now that I'm looking at reading the history of it all. Because there were Christians who kind of, or even just whites who got into the Maori tribes and became part of the tribes and then helped them on their side. But boy, I'm reading some of the history vaguely here, just quickly, and it's pretty brutal and hilarious. And I actually like this movie because it shows you and me the Maori, and it's really good depiction. They are very. I really like this. They showed exactly what I'm trying to do with my game here. So I really appreciate this film. The brutality of the Maori against the Maori, the cannibalism of the Maori against the Maori and against the white people. The white people, sure, were idiotic and not compassionate, and the Christianity was misfired all the time. And so I think this movie does a really good job, and I think as Christians you should watch this. It's a really good I think depiction of things, and we all have our inhibitions and suspicions about things, so we about others and about differences. So I think it was done really well. The other thing I'll say about the Christianity part of it, there's not much, like, he doesn't really do much evangelism in it necessarily. I mean, his evangelism is in his actions. So he's definitely he's a lay minister. So he's not like, a theologically hardcore. He's more, he has, he came from another profession kind of thing. And I think he's just trying to do his best in the toughest, scariest, most ridiculous situation. So I think it was a great job. I kind of appreciate this film. Real quick, I do books. I'm trying to do a little more marketing here. I write books. There's an Alfred, great family-friendly fantasy series, but great for adults. I wrote it secretly for adults. I kind of wrote it like what I wanted a Lord of the Rings and Narnia type of thing to be. What I wanted to read, the crunch of fighting, right? And again, I do a medieval armored combat, so I really blah 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 do that. I'm kind of retired from it now, kind of 55. So Night of the Dead is a dad book, very rated R, zombie apocalypse, modern day Hollywood. Some guy has medieval armor, and that's what he uses to survive it with his family. So, and then The Conquest of Yavimaya is a very D&D type fantasy basic, but it ties in with the Alfred, but I haven't tied it in directly yet. But anyway, but it's just its own little thing. And every book, by the way, has its own story, beginning and end. I add a little, maybe not a cliffhanger at the end, but like for the next one. And then I'm putting in my For the Lord RPG games as hardbounds in there. So there's that. Okay, back to okay. So this is, I'm going to play this. I think it's going to get weird, but I'm going to play it. This just cracks me up. This is the Maori today. It's probably doing a double. This just cracks me up. They're protesting in the legislature there. So what is this about? It looks pretty cool though, to be honest. I like those moves. Very cool and unique. But this dance was about killing and cannibalizing and murder and brutality. But I can't do that. Oh man, but in the movie, the one chief, man, he pulls his tongue out. I'm like, dang. That was crazy. So I looked it up a little bit. I don't know that much about it, but I believe they're protesting that they had an old tree that favored the Maori, I believe, or that helped them because they're indigenous. And now they're trying to now the New Zealanders, the whites, or the regular people, I don't know, the non-natives, are trying to lessen that, right? So that there's more equality in how land is bought and sold or something. And I feel like they're protesting for more favoritism. They want more favoritism because they're the indigenous people. But that argument is silly because they're the indigenous people before the indigenous people that they defeated and ate and they cannibalized. and the tribes are all different anyway. They all kept warring against each other. So I wanted to look up a bit of the history of it, and I found this on Listverse. So it's pretty interesting. I appreciate it. I assume this is a vaguely, trivially accurate, because they're just giving us the overview. But I'm not going to read it all, but it was all about brutality, man, and cannibalizing and revenge. Oh, and the film did this too. Paganism's default mechanism of death and revenge. I like this. There's a line in there. Death and revenge are the same thing to them. So, so revenge is all a part of what they're. You must revenge anyone that's killed, and that's actually a kind of interesting part of the story. Is that the Christian, the minister, the lay minister character, he brings in the desire for peace. He breaks the spell of revenge that pagans have in the story. So, and you might think that he's a convert in that, like, he converted to Maori, and that may be the surface thing, because at the end he's sort of, not to be a spoiler, whatever, but he sort of joins with them and helps them. And you think, oh, now that's the convert. But if you look deeper, he converted them. He converted them from war, and there's great war stuff and violence in it. But which I love and I need. But he converted them from war to peace. For realsy, in the story. And this is what we did to the Maori. So today the Maori are doing this, right? And they're not doing this. Tribe cannibalized James Cook's crew. So the tribes they massacred the whites. Now the whites obviously fought back. And there was a lot of in these stories too. There's a lot of them where the chief's son went on the ship to learn how to be a sailor, and he didn't want to do any of the work because he's the chief's son. But the captain punished him, flogged him for not working, and so he went back and told his tribe, and they went and they killed everybody on the ship. The captain, the ship, cannibalized them. Okay, so that's paganism for you. And guess what? We Christians, the church, had to beat the crap out of them, conquer them, and teach them, no. If you have an issue with us, work it out, in the system, however you can, but no. Introducing muskets was obviously a bad thing for the Maori, but they started killing each other even faster, more and started campaigns of brutalizing each other. So there's no, good person in this. And remember, what do you know? Jesus said, no, not one of us is good. We're all going to resort to this, okay? White, Maori, whatever. By the way, the when people hate the white man and all this BLM crap, when they talk to the white man, and the left and the Democrats always talk about the white man or whatever, white colonizers, that's the secret code for Christianity. They're using white as a divisional thing, but what they really mean is they hate the Christians, because the white man is the last bastion of Christianity in history. And statistically speaking, the white man has had the percentage of white, of Christians. So thusly, they have to go after the white man. They don't go after China. They don't go after African countries. They don't go after South American. They always got to go after the white man, or anyone that's bringing back freedom, liberty, individual rights, and Christianity. They don't care about the oppressiveness of Islam. They don't care about the oppressiveness of communism, Marxism, right? They got to go in African tribalism. They got to go after the Christians, but they're just saying white man because that's just their code word, even unto themselves. But this is a pretty good, fun little list to read, and it's very brutal. This is a role-playing game, right here, the Dark Ages, or this guy. And then when the British came in to create a citizenship of them equal under the British rule, they didn't like it. They didn't like the court system. They liked vengeance and murder and so they started protesting it because they wanted the Maori way of dealing with each other and of the white man. They hated that you had to go through court. They slaughtered so many entire families. And this one, they were seeking vengeance and going to kill someone, but they couldn't get to him, so they found the first white man, and he was a painter, and they slaughtered his wife and children in front of him, or he ran away thinking they would chase him, but instead they went into the house and killed his wife and baby. They kill everyone, and they don't care. And the movie touches on it too, so that was good. The Maori thing, and so this guy reading here was a sort of and this is common too. Christian paganism. He created a Christian pagan thing, and then a German missionary came, and I think argued against it or whatever, and so he got him killed, tortured and killed him, but beheaded him, and then put his head in his church and did his sermon with the missionary's head on his thing. So lots of just, this is to me is very fascinating too. I feel like this could be a total role-playing game. But eventually, this one, he was a loyalist. Then he got arrested because they thought he was a spy, and then he got pissed off and he got escaped, and then he totally started a revolt and killed a bunch of people, white people, and then he had an affair with one of his other. He had an affair with his, chief, other person's, another Maori's wife, and then it died. Like the whole rebellion, the tribe left him. That's an interesting story. And then it kind of all, it said here the British were really about to give up on New Zealand. They're about to give up and leave the tribe. But then they fell apart, and the British were able to come back and turn the Maori into this, where they're fighting for better privileges amongst themselves. And I that's fine. I think to me, what they're doing is fine. They can argue, and that's great in legislation. And then if they want to do a little haka dance, whatever, I think that's kind of an amusing thing. And I just looked to see where this guy got this information from, and it looks like he grabbed it from here, and so I just wanted to see kind of if was this stuff accurate-ish. But very, very interesting and fascinating, very brutal stuff, man. And the movie was really good. I really appreciated what it did and how it portrayed. I think the Christianity was a little weak, but that's okay. Actually, it was pretty strong in the sense, like the goodness that minister portrayed. So I do recommend The Convert, but only for you that can handle the brutalness that's going to show, and I'm into that. So bad way, because I'm a sinner. All right, but The Convert, pretty good movie. I thought it was even handed too. You know what? That's all I want as a Christian. I wanted you to show the weaknesses of Christianity, the hypocrisies of Christians. I'm totally fine with that, as long as you show with the other side as well. As long as you show that all of us are sinners and fall far short of the glory of God. God just says, don't murder. Don't take someone else's property. Even atheists, think about this. The Christianity says, don't murder. So I, as a Christian, can't murder you. I, as a Christian, can't take your property. I, as a Christian, can't bear false witness on you. The Ten Commandments is for everybody. So when a Christian does that, he's therefore not a Christian. I know I can't force you to work 7 days a week like a slave. I have to give you a day off. I can't force you to worship the first commandment, thou shalt not have any other gods before me, doesn't tell you have to worship God. It's really, thou shalt not have any other God before me, the first commandment. God gives the very first commandment to you and me. He's saying, don't worship. If you're not going to worship me, don't worship anything else. Is that amazing or what? He doesn't say you have to worship me. The first commandment says, if you're not going to worship me, I dare you. Don't worship. Try not to worship something else. You can't do it, is what it's saying. The first commandment is a defiant command on you and me. Oh, if you're not going to worship me, you can't worship anything else. Because if we worship something else, it's going to be not the next 9 commandments. And that's going to be really bad, because you can murder, you can take someone's property, Marxism. You can bear false witness, which is vengeance and constant vengeance. The cycle of vengeance ends. That's another tenet of everyone that is not Christian. If you can be your own God, if you can save yourself, you can decide vengeance. You can decide that. You can decide and live in it and be wallowed in it. Only through God saying, and Jesus Christ saying, love your enemy. Love your enemy. Throw water on them, not violence, or throw goodness on them. It's Christianity that ends this cycle of violence and vengeance. And we do have war, because thou shalt not murder. Oh, you're murdering. You keep murdering. Don't murder. Okay, you know what? You keep murdering. You keep cannibalizing. So we're gonna have to start a war now and actually justifiably declare war on you and stop you from genocide and terror, which is a tool of paganism. Okay, so I keep ranting on and on, but I'm stopped there because I got work to do. All right, in the game of life, everybody roll holy dice, and the minister or the convert, pretty good. That, I think, to me, that's a good one for us. Us as a influence on story ideas, like two warring tribes, and you missionaries go in and got to deal with that. That's a good. And there's some really bad guys on both sides that want to keep fighting, including arms dealers and all that. So, all right, in the game of life, roll holy dice.